What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Run Pure Sports MLB Swing for the Fences show. We're here to break down the 9-game slate on DraftKings, 7-game slate on FanDuel, some early start games here on DK that they've picked up. FanDuel elected to not include them, so we'll kind of go through, break it all down like we do every day here. I'm joined by my two guys, Mangone, DC. We'll go to you first, Mangone. How was your weekend and kind of overall thoughts here on this MLB slate today?
Yep. Good weekend overall. Excited to kind of get into the MLB slate with you guys. We got the White Sox get a good matchup, so I'm always excited about that. Should be a fun little slate today. And then we got NBA playoffs, which I always get excited about. And the series are starting to get intense. We got a bunch of 2-2 series. Chris Paul's mom is getting touched by fans, and Chris Paul's not happy. So we got all the drama going in the NBA, MLB. So we got all the sports going on. It's a good time right now.
Man, just donkey start here talking on mute. Big UFC weekend as well. DC title. Keg did that show on Saturday. A lot of good calls on that show. I mean, you guys were pretty spot on with just about every fight. I know a lot of RPS members had big weeks in the DFS streets and betting streets. I believe most of the bets on the page here on the bet side hit, where they're high on Chandler to get the TKO. Or knockout or TKO, and that was the best knockout probably I've ever seen. The kick to the face, and Ferguson just out cold, and then our boy Oliveira gets it done pretty impressively. So thoughts on that, DC, because it was very entertaining. Kind of watching.
Yeah, a fun night, a profitable night. I think I know Tyler had some serious cheese down on Oliveira. I think you might have been with him on that. I did not as much as you guys, but I had a nice night. I did have a funny interaction on Twitter. I was, kind of live tweeting the fights. I think it was after maybe the fourth to last fight, and some guy was like, not really trolling me, but like a little bit, like, what is Cheats picks for the next 3 fights? And I called exactly the 3 winners and how they would end. I said Chandler KO / Esparza decision / Oliveira sub, and I didn't have that parlay until I responded, but then I obviously had to go get it in there quick. And so that paid, I think it was over 20-1. So that was nice.
You bet it?
Yeah, I did.
So I took those 3, but I didn't. I just.
I had bets on those 3, but I didn't have that like exact parlay. Yeah. But then it was funny because obviously those hit, and then like the tweet gets some interaction afterward, and then the guy responds the next morning. He's like, "Guess who didn't tail any of these because he was too drunk." This guy, so he had to take his L after asking me and propelling me to make some more money myself. So that was very fun. All credit to Keg and Title, super sharp MMA guys. Always a fun show. We do that every time there's a UFC card. That's going to continue indefinitely. So a fun show. Goes very long, almost 2 hours in the last show, but we do what we need to get through all the fights, and most weeks it ends up being pretty profitable. So if you haven't checked out that MMA show, do so. It's a fun time.
Yeah, I hit the money line parlay on all those. I went Chandler, Esparza, and then Oliveira. I think I want to say it was like 5-1 or 6-1, just taking the money line on those to win.
Can I ask you a quick UFC question? I hear it's the best DFS sport ever. How much fun did you have when the fight got canceled and we all had zeros? Did everyone have fun?
That part was unfortunate.
I just want to ask because it's the best DFS sport. I've gotten fights in the MMA.
It ruined some of my lineups for sure. I didn't get all the way to the top.
I had it too. I had it everywhere. I think everyone had it. To be honest, like weren't there teams that won with like losses on it? That's how crazy the card.
It was a weird scoring night where like 60. The 60 score was like in the optimal, right? 60 or 70, I believe.
Yeah, like everyone took like some pretty bad like beats because it was just like a disaster. But
I had a lot of Joel Ozan. So he did. I think I had him on like. I had 10 teams. I think I had on 6 of them and Cerrone on 2 others. So it did sink a lot of my DFS teams early. And listen, I mean, bad luck happens to everybody in DFS, right? Like kind of the motto here at Run Pure Sports is just play better. Nobody cares about your excuses. Man. Those ones hurt a little bit, especially though, because they like open the show like 1 minute into the prelim fights, right? So there's supposed to be 15 fights. This is like hours before that fight would even take place. And like the first thing they say is, "Oh, we've got some bad news. This fight is off." It's like, okay, so you guys have known clearly for a significant amount of time, and could have, the UFC could have announced it. And it's just, it's just a buzzkill to start the night that way. but luckily we rebounded and had a profitable night anyway.
I just need to take shots real quick at the UFC and title because he talks like it's the best sport. It's not the best, but we can digress, right?
I will say I think it's like the best sweat for DFS. Like if you have like good teams,
you will take golf over that. You know that you'll take.
I think it's honestly, I'm dead serious. I think it's very comparable to golf, where it's like more drawn out than some of these other sports. And I mean, there's just something to it where it's like it's a fight as well. Like you have the sweat, you have money on it, and these guys are trying to like hurt each other. I don't know. It's just a fascinating DFS.
Yeah, I've been a fan for years. And one thing I do like about like even when that happens to you, and so maybe if you only played a few DFS lineups, maybe you're kind of drawn dead. You're not going to ship a GPP obviously with a 0 in it, but you can like just if you're legal or have access to sports books, you could just parlay the fights how you think they're going to go on a bet and get a big payout anyway, right? It's obviously not quite the same, but there are other ways. And you can kind of, there's enough time between fights to get more action down if things don't go your way early. So I love the big UFC cards. The smaller ones, like the fights, it's not quite the same, but it's still fun for a betting in the DFS sweat.
And Mangone, if you want to take a shot at UFC, all you had to do is point out the co-main event, probably the worst, worst fight of all time, and that was pathetic.
Good point.
That was bad.
So bad. I don't know if you caught. There was the judges were actually watching the boxing match on like a TV in front of them. Instead, there was a video online I saw. They were watching that. Yeah, I mean that. During the Rose fight, I mean that thing was a disaster. But
Rose's corner did her dirty. They were telling her she was winning every round, that she was.
But she has to know that she's not. She literally did nothing.
Of course, but still, that's your corner's job to tell you got to go. You're not.
Did she say to her corner like, "Are you sure about that?" Like, like that's what I was.
Because she's the best. She's the best. You keep as long as you tell yourself you're the best, you're going to keep winning, right? I mean, I think DC, like you were coaching me at the basketball game. Like you were never going to say to me like, Mangone, you're dead. Like you're done. You know what I mean? Like you told me like, hey, I know you're hurting, but like, you got this. Like, so I'm expecting that anyways. Like, I don't know.
I mean, nobody even got hurt. Like the girl Esparza that won it, like posts like the next day, like, Mother's Day with her mom. She just looks totally, completely fine. Like you just fought 25 minutes. I think it was Chandler and Gaethje landed like as many strikes in 3 minutes as the girls did in 25. Just a horrible fight.
So bad. And the girl's getting married this week, so it was like a week after the fight. So it worked out pretty well. She got the championship belt, and her face didn't get beat up at all. She gets to get married.
It's looking just fine.
It's incredible. I mean, then the bros is asking for like, does she get the rematch? Like, hell no. Like in the post press conference, Dana White's like, no one wants to see that again. I mean. There's just no way, and that's so dumb on her part. I don't know. I thought that was a disaster. That was the low light.
Love that about Dana White. If there's a shitty fight, he'll say it. He'll just be
It was terrible. But another reason to sign up for Run Pure Sports. All sports one price, all UFC content this weekend under that umbrella. Title did a great breakdown of the entire card on the premium side, and then we had our bets guys picking winners in there too. If you want to. If you are a Run Pure member and you want to try out the bet side, if you use the promo code GETBETS, gets you 25% off everything over there. So head on over to Run Pure Sports, check it all out. We have a baseball slate to break down, and we'll start with the pitching. And I think there's some solid pitching options today. For this 9-game slate. The one thing I don't like is the pricing. I think is pretty weak on DK for the pitching, but they did price up the bats quite a bit, so it did balance it out a little bit. But we're going to start in this upper tier. We're going to start 8-2 and above. Julio Urias is there, and we'll go all the way up to Rodon. DC, we'll start with you. Talk to me about this top tier on DraftKings.
Yeah, Rodon, number one guy for me. I think he'll be the most popular pitcher on this slate, rightfully so. Coming off a little bit of a hiccup start against the Dodgers last time out, but nothing really. Just 3 strikeouts, which obviously is very unusual for him. I think his previous low on the season was 8 in his 4 previous starts to that one. But yeah, looked under the hood with Rodon. Nothing really at all to be concerned about. I would expect him to be back to his dominant self at home in San Francisco against Colorado, who have some decent right-handed hitters, but still Rodon clearly, I wouldn't say clearly, but my number one. It is close, I do think, between Rodon and Brandon Woodruff, who gets just this Reds team. I mean, well, at least the Rockies have some like major league caliber bats in there. The Reds have just nothing, just a horrific team on all fronts. Woodruff just faced him, completely dominated him. I would expect him to do the same here. I do like Woodruff a lot at 9,300. And then you hit on the other guy, Julio Urias for the Dodgers. Not available on FanDuel because this game does start at 6:35 Eastern time, 30 minutes before the typical lock. So be aware of that. But he's been excellent after starting the year. I think he started in Coors Field. It was cold. He was horrible. But 4 good starts after that. One worry with him is they've been very, very cautious with his pitch count. I think season high of 81. I mean, in the last start against the Giants, he was cruising 6 scoreless innings, 4 strikeouts, no walks, just 4 hits. And they pull him after 6 innings and 65 pitches. So it's a concern, right? Especially when you're competing with guys like Woodruff and Rodon, who are horses, who will go. I mean, they'll go the whole game if things are going well for them. They don't have a quick hook whatsoever. So that's a concern for Urias for me, but certainly expect him to pitch well against a really, really bad Pittsburgh lineup. So a clear top 3 there for me, given how quality those options are. I'm not going to mess with guys like Mackenzie Gore, Michael Kopech, Ranger Suarez. No thanks. A little bit of interest in Luis Castillo, who will make his first start for the Reds here. But Milwaukee's been hitting well. Hoop, you've been a big beneficiary of that. And Castillo, coming off a rough year, but I do think he is pretty much stretched out through 55, 65, and then like 76 pitches in his 3 outings in the minor league. So he should be good to go, right? I think 90 plus pitches if things are going well. He is a high strikeout guy, and there are strikeouts to be had, certainly against this Brewers lineup. So I think at low ownership, he's got a chance to compete with the big dogs, but he would be 4th for me. I think it's kind of close between him and Urias in terms of upside, but Urias clearly the much, much safer play. So Castillo would kind of be tournaments only. But yeah, Rodon, Woodruff, Urias up top, I think all good options. I do think Rodon and Woodruff clearly a step ahead of everybody else on this pitching slate.
Yeah, I'm in lockstep with you. The thing with Urias is, the margin for error is pretty low just because of that pitch count. He has to be very efficient, and he has been all season long. Gets a good matchup here against Pittsburgh, so I think that's enough for me to play him. Really haven't played much of him this season, but he's been good. And like I said, he just has to be efficient. I think he can do that here against Pittsburgh. So those top 3, I'm fully in lockstep with you. I'm really not looking to get too queued up here. Mangone, do you agree, or are you expanding your player pool in this upper range at all?
Yeah, I kind of agree. I mean, the one thing I'll say is like you have Rodon and you have Woodruff, and like if I told you what's the chalk combination today, it's that pairing, right? It just seems that simple, that easy. Now, of course, if you do that, you probably don't want to play the chalk offense also. It seems like a bit much to play all of that together. I think separating the guys is not a bad idea. And there's other options that I think you can go to that have upside. Mackenzie Gore certainly can hit a ceiling there against the Cubs. I think you could take a shot on Michael, and I'm going to butcher his name, Kopech or Kep, however you say his name. But Kopech, my worry, DC, is like Cleveland's a team that not only do they not strike out a lot, but they have a lot of power and pop. So like, that's just not someone that I'm like dying to play. I think he could get there because he's talented, but not someone I'm going out of my way for. I'd prefer Mackenzie Gore for $200 more if I had to choose. After that, like Julio Urias is like, I think any pitcher is in play against the Pirates. It seems like almost any day. Yes, you always worry about Urias and what his like leash is going to be, but it's a pretty low run total. It's like right below 3. So I do think that Urias is in play and a good option. I see Austin Gomber as like a pretty decent projection. And like, I'm not super excited about that against the Giants. I'm like not totally buying it. So I think my main pitcher pool would be like Rodon, Gore, Woodruff, Urias. And then like, if there's like a really cheap guy I had to go, like, I think I'd take the shot on Michael Pineda just because I think he hasn't been that bad this year. And he gets Oakland, a team that I'm not scared of at all, where I think you could take advantage of that. So yeah, I think that's kind of my overall pitching pool. But if you do play Rodon and you play Woodruff, like don't play the chalk offense. That's just a really terrible idea. I also think if you want to, and I don't think it's something you have to do to be different, but if you want to make a simple rule of keeping Rodon and Woodruff separate from each other, I think that would naturally help make you different. And you can get overweight on those guys. I don't think it's something you need to do, but if it's like a quick, simple rule that you wanted to do and you're already eating a lot of chalk on the offensive side, that's a way I think you could do it to be a little bit different if you'd like.
Yeah, traveling down to that cheaper range, you touched on one guy that I do have some interest in, Pineda. Not a safe option. I mean, limited upside, I'd say as well. But to me, I'm not seeing any guys that stand out, down here that I want to really be on. Pineda gets a home matchup against the A's. Slight favorite here. I think he can do enough at 6.2K. So he's really, for me, like the only guy that I'm probably playing down here, unless DC, you can convince me on someone else, which you have in the past. Or who was the dude last week? That 4K guy, I think it was for the Braves, that put up like 20 fantasy
That's
points.
a Strider. Yeah, when my computer and internet crap got,
yeah.
I was so excited about that Friday slate too. Had a cocktail in hand and was all excited for this 4K guy. What is he like? He came in like 3% ownership.
He was 3% owned. Yeah, 3%.
Just load people down at 4K. There ended up being some really high scoring pitchers later on, so it wasn't as good of a play as because you need he needs the hit, and then the top end of pitching can't have shutouts, and then your big bats got to go off, and so the combination didn't work out. But it was pretty fun to watch him come in at 3% and 4K and strike out the side in the second inning. So that was cool. I'm not going to try to really convince anybody on these cheaper guys, but I do think there are 3 cheaper pitchers who are reasonable plays. You guys hit on Michael Pineda. I mean, 6,200, just kind of like a league average pitcher, but I mean, he's at home in Detroit, which is a big park anyway. Oakland is terrible. It's good pitching weather with the wind blowing in, and his big issue is home runs. So I don't know. I mean, I think he'll get through 6 innings and probably give up a couple runs, get you like 4 or 5 strikeouts, right? Decent chance at a win. Could be enough. I mean, it is a big savings from the top end of the guys that, if you pay up for the right bats, that could be the winning formula, even if he doesn't match a Rodon or a Woodruff. I wouldn't expect him to, but he could get within 8 points of those guys pretty easily, I think. And, that could be the winning combination. Kind of a similar story with Gomber, who's been pretty damn good this season. And the Giants lineup right now, especially against lefties, I mean, there's not that many dangerous bats, really, honestly. So I think they're going to still be without Brandon Belt. I mean, the best right-handed hitter in this lineup is, I don't know, Wilmer Flores. Like, can't be that scared of the.
Don't let Big T hear that.
Well, that's all right. But again, Gomber, anytime these pitchers that are like 6K range, especially with the way baseball's playing right now, if they're going to go out there and give you 90 to 100 pitches in a good ballpark, in a reasonable matchup, they all have a pretty good chance at 20 fantasy points, right? And at these price points, that'll usually get the job done. So Gomber, Pineda, and I'll throw one more guy in the mix, Chris Flexen. Again, another guy that's stretched out. His pitch counts through 5 starts, 91, 72, 84, 96, 84. Gets to pitch at home. 2 of those outings have been against the Astros, who obviously don't swing and miss. Outside of those, his swing and strike rates have been decently high. And Seattle's just a great place to pitch. We see Seattle, I mentioned this often, Seattle starters at home typically perform pretty well. And the Phillies, they do have a dangerous lineup, but they really haven't been firing on all cylinders pretty much most of the year. First game on the West Coast, strikeouts to be had, and a pitcher that can give you close to 100 pitches. So, Flexen at 5,300. Not the most exciting play, but super cheap, and I think he'll be just fine. So you can use him. Kind of one of those, to me, who we've talked about this. I think you can build offenses first, and I have no problem using a Gomber, Pineda, or Flexen as a piece in there if those are the offenses I want. I'm usually going to pair probably one of those guys with one of the top end starters. I don't think I want to go 2 cheap guys necessarily, but I think Gomber, Pineda, Flexen, all reasonable plays. I have them ranked pretty closely in terms of point per dollar. So you can kind of use them interchangeably, just use who fits.
DraftKings did a pretty good job, I'd say, with pricing these offenses. Like the better offenses on the slate are priced up. Like all the Dodgers bats are 4K and above, besides Hanser, Alberto. Everyone else 4K and above. So the White Sox, pretty appealing offense. They good job with their pricing as well. So yeah, I think there is some merit to playing some of these more expensive offenses and taking a chance at one of the pitcher spots. I mean, my favorite's still Pineda, but I'll mix in those other guys as well. So let's head into the offenses. Before we do, just wanted to highlight some of the wins in our members never win segment. We had our guy Dante take down 13K in MLB. Congratulations to him. Simo 620 took down 40,000 in NBA, and then this last jabroni, Mr. Big T, took down 49,000 in NBA. Those guys are doing a phenomenal job on the NBA side of things with the premium show up to lock every single day. Big T was at the Kentucky Derby on Saturday, did the show before he headed out to the Derby, and I don't know if you guys saw the pictures on social media, but he got a apparel upgrade. I mean, not the typical DraftKings apparel, not the gym shorts, gym shoes. Big T had a blazer on. Did you guys see that, DC? What were your thoughts on Big T's get up there for the Derby?
A blazer and jeans. Big T was looking good. I'd be curious to hear, how I assume those were new clothes that he got for that very event would be my guess. I'd like to see Big T in the mall shopping. I don't know, maybe Amber, Mrs. T was out there getting the clothes for her. Would be my guess, but nevertheless, both were looking very, very fine, and I hope they had a great time in the Derby. I'm sure they did.
Talk about a guy that outkicked his coverage, by the way, like Big T, he did well for himself, that's for sure. Mangone.
That's like the best compliment you can give a guy.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. Mangone, we've been guilty of circulating some of those Big T photos. I mean, my favorite photo, my favorite Big T family picture. It was like one of the kids, like kindergarten graduation. They're all dressed nicely, and Amber has a dress on. The kids have polo shirts, dresses, and Big T standing there. He's got the gym shorts, gym shoes. It was a change for Big T this weekend. I mean, that picture was going around. They had the blazer going. What are your thoughts on Big T's get up at the Derby?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like money has changed Big T a bit. Who knows? He must have. There's got to be a couple of conversations that Big T participated in with some of those guys that he was like, I got to get out of this conversation. This is awful. So I can imagine him being there struggling a bit. But hey, it looks like he had a fun time. Amber had a good time, and obviously looked great. Big T outkicked his coverage, like you said, and it seems like he had a fun time at the race. And what a race to go to! The long shot won. It was a fun one to watch. I happened to catch the Derby. I'm not someone that ever seeks it out, but I always know it's around like 6 or 7 o'clock. So if I'm near a TV and I know it's happening, I'll turn it on, but I have no other interest in watching, but it was a pretty fun race and was exciting at the end.
Yeah, no doubt about that. All right, let's get in and talk some offense. We'll go position by position. We'll start at the catcher position, and typically a weak position. Not a ton of high upside guys here. A few guys that stand out. I think Grandal for the White Sox, 4.6K. A guy that will be pretty popular is Dalton Varsho at 3.8K. After that, it gets dicey in a hurry, and you can do a lot of different things at catcher. You can include in catcher. If you're stacking a team, include the catcher just so you can kind of fill that position. Fully punt it if you want. I mean, as it stands now, it doesn't really look like there's a ton of full punts. I mean, something will emerge, though, as a full punt once more of these lineups come out. But the two that stand out as plays to me are Varsho and Grandal. We'll start with you, Mangone. What are your thoughts here at a pretty miserable catcher position?
Yeah, I mean, catcher is definitely not the greatest position. I agree on the Varsho stuff. He's definitely someone that people look to plug in there. You can put him in the outfield too. So he naturally, I think, he's just going to gain more ownership, but I think he's a good play. I like Grandal. I think he's a good option, but if you are going to play those Phillies, which I understand like the reasons to not love them, but JSURab at 5'1" definitely has some power and pop. So would not sleep on him completely. If you are going to punt the position, there's not a lot that I love down here. That's kind of one of the struggles that I'm noticing. Maybe it's whoever ends up being in there for Miami at catcher, or maybe, you already have Varsho if you're doing the Arizona stack. I think Miami and Arizona naturally are going to be popular today. There's an extreme hitters umpire there. There's two pitchers that I'm not that excited about. The weather is going to be fine. I don't know if the roof is going to be open in Arizona, but either way, it's one of the better hitting environments, I think, on this slate. So, I think whoever that Miami catcher could be might be a way to be a little bit different within your Miami stack if you want to try and go that route.
Yeah, still waiting for that Miami lineup. Should be up. A lot of later games today, actually. I mean, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that start at 9:30 Eastern or later. So, still waiting for quite a few lineups here as we're doing this show. DC, any thoughts here at catcher?
I think you guys hit on the best plays. Varsho clearly number one for me. It was just last week actually. Arizona faced Eliseo Hernandez in Miami. I think it was a morning slate. Mangon, we might have been on the air that morning. I can't remember for sure, but I really like those lefties, those Arizona lefties against Hernandez. They came through in a big way, and I could see them doing so again. Varsho, I don't think that. Oh yeah, it is out. Yeah, leading off. Yeah, I definitely prefer him over Grandal straight up. I mean, Grandal just has done nothing so far. I haven't been on really him or the White Sox very much, and probably will kind of continue down that path, frankly. So Varsho, the clear number one for me, but that will be reflected in ownership. So not all that exciting. Max Stassi, I like a little bit for the Angels, 4.4K. He's got power. The Rays starting a lefty today. And then I'll throw in Wilson Contreras for the Cubs. Again, a guy that hits lefties really well. It's Mackenzie Gore, who is a pretty decent pitcher, but not someone that I'm overly afraid of. I don't think many people will spend up for a guy like Contreras. So I do like him quite a bit, but a very thin position. And Hoop, like you said, I'm sure there'll be some guy that's, 2,200 or stone minimum that you can play. But I don't really like. Sometimes there's like a guy that I'm like hoping is going to be in there that I can play. I don't see anybody that's super cheap that could potentially be in there that I'd be excited to play. So probably be a lot of Varsho for me. Eat the chalk there and maybe try to get different somewhere else.
Yeah, real quick, Hoop, I just want to call this out because DC, you talked about Grandal and he hasn't been as great, but the one thing that's nice, at least about Grandal, is he's a guy that walks a ton, but you're not going to get the walks as much today because Plesac doesn't walk batters, right? He's just the guy that throws it across the plate, either gets the strikeout or gets absolutely shelled. So that's the one thing, at least, that's nice about Grandal. If you look at his walks, I mean, I'm looking in the last maybe 14 games, he has a walk in at least 10 of them. So it's definitely one of those spots where I think if Grandal can get a hold of one and the White Sox offense is popping off, I think he'll definitely be a part of it.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about the home run potential and with the weather there and the White Sox. It's 20 mile per hour wind.
Yeah, that's the one worry is the wind blowing in at 20 miles an hour.
And it's okay, so Grandal, you're not going to get the walk points, and I don't know. He hasn't shown much power recently, so I get it. I get why he'll be popular, but I have my doubts about him.
All right, let's move on to the first base position. And I guess, the one game that would technically be underpriced on DraftKings would probably be that Miami and Arizona game. I mean, it's an 8.5 total, and most of the key bats in this game are under 4K. A few first basemen here that you can consider. Garrett Cooper, 2.8K. Christian Walker, 3.4K. The Diamondbacks, I'm guessing, end up being pretty popular today just because of the price tags. I mean, playing one of the higher total games and cheap tags. So I think Walker probably ends up as one of the more popular plays. Some other guys that kind of stand out to me. You guys know I got to play my boy Rowdy Tellez. I'm just in on him no matter what. 4.7K. The price tag's up. Should limit ownership for sure, but I'm locked in on my boy Tellez. And then one other pretty random name that I like, Gavin Sheets. He's treated me well in the past, 3.6K, batting 6 for the White Sox. So just a few guys that I'm looking at here at first base. DC, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, again, this was pretty much every position today, maybe outside of outfield. It's what's the highest total on the slate? I think it's 4.6 or 4.7 for the Dodgers.
Team total is the Dodgers, 4.6. Everything else is –
and most – I think over half of them are under 4. So, there's just not that many exciting plays. Partly that's a little shorter slate, but some decent pitchers, but just still not great hitting weather. And obviously the game environment has changed a little bit. I mean, I think you can make I like Castillo a little bit, but man, the way Tellez is hitting the ball, we know the ball flies in Cincinnati. So it is one of the better, 75 degrees in Cincinnati. I mean, hard to argue with Tellez. Castillo gives up a lot of home runs, a high strikeout guy, but you can definitely take him deep. So I think Tellez's $4,700 price tag is more than justified. And I think he's one of the top options here. Of course, if you want to go to the Dodgers, which I kind of do, I mean, I think I trust their offense the most of any on this slate personally, despite a pretty bad park to hit in Pittsburgh. But man, give me Quintana and that Dodgers and then that Pittsburgh bullpen, 9 full innings, and I'll take my chances. So Freddie Freeman, maybe the left versus left holds his ownership down just a little bit, but I do like him quite a bit. And then, I don't mind going all the way up top. The Angels, another team that I like quite a bit. They do have a team total under 4, but I don't know. Jeffrey Springs, I'm not super concerned about. Kind of a bullpenish game from Tampa, which is not always ideal, but the Angels just have so much upside. So I think Ohtani at 6,100, like he's one of those bats that you can only really get access to realistically if you're taking one of the cheaper pitchers, right? Which I don't think most people really want to do. So I do like him, just mostly, I guess, from a game theory type perspective. And then I think you can go to Miami. Jesus Aguilar should be hitting the middle of that lineup. I'm not impressed with Castellanos pitching for Arizona. So Miami, along with Arizona, both first, all the first basemen basically in that game. There should be 4 of them: Walker and Beer for Arizona, and then Aguilar for Miami. So a few ways to go, but no slam dunk play here at first base by any means, right? There's no play that really truly stands out. I think you'll see ownership pretty spread out at this position.
It's kind of weird how that Angels team total isn't higher. You'd figure that it would be, but right around 4, kind of surprising. But I'm on them too, though, for sure. And like Ohtani, lefty to start, but 6.1K price tag is going to keep people off him. So I'm with you on that call. Mangone, thoughts here at first base?
Yeah, first base definitely isn't amazing today. Not in a position I'm super excited about. I do want to say, Tony A in the chat asked if the like button's broken. So let's get the likes up. They're doing pretty good though. 360, we got 130. So I just wanted to give Tony a shout out for, helping us out there. Yeah. Also, people are talking about maybe Varshaw is not in like the 1 hole. Well, I don't know. People are saying maybe he's in the 9 hole. I don't totally agree with that, but I don't know. We'll see. That'll get all sorted out.
They're saying what, conflicting starting lineups, or
I guess, I don't know.
That's their pretty standard. That's their standard.
There's no way Varshaw's hitting 9th. Right?
Yeah. That's what I think too. Yeah. I think they're wrong. So the sites I trust, DK says apparently it's 9. I think it's wrong. Just don't even worry about it. And either way, it's the catcher position. It sucks. So hey, if you're going to put him in your stack, put him in your stack if you like the catcher there. That's how I would handle it. But let's talk about the first base position. First base, Ohtani always at the top is in play, but he hasn't been as great this year. I think Freddie Freeman's a really good option against Jose Quintana. Hoop, you talked about it a little bit, like just slamming in those Dodgers. If you put all of them in there, right, you just put in like all the 5K guys on the Dodgers. Well, it's going to be tough to make everything else work. So I think a Freddie Freeman is a really good option to include in your Dodgers stack, and someone that I would be looking to get in there. Rhys Hoskins at 3.7. That's a really nice price tag on him. I know he hasn't had the greatest season, but he started to heat up a little bit. And so I think I wouldn't mind Rhys Hoskins at that price tag. And then if you want to go dirt cheap, you got Seth Beer down there, who I know you like, DC. You got Garrett Cooper. He's 2.8K. And then, Colin Moran's down there at 2.8. Don't play him, DC. It's not the daytime. You don't play Colin Moran at night. You only play him in the daytime. So Garrett Cooper definitely a really good option, though, at 2.8K that you can include in your Marlins stacks.
Yeah, so I guess the confusion is DK has some of these guys flip-flop. So DK is showing Varishal batting 9th, Pevin or Smith batting 7th. So it looks like it's like a flip-flopped order. It's the only spot that where I'm seeing the different lineup.
That's why I think it's wrong.
It is wrong. Yeah, it is wrong.
The one thing I did notice that is true is the Diamondbacks did tweet it out and 22 minutes ago, and it does say Seth Beer is in the 1 hole there and Varshaw's in the 9 hole. So it was a picture that they tweeted out, but I don't know.
I'll be really, really surprised if Varshaw's hitting 9th in this game. I'll say that.
Yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me personally.
Yeah, I mean, they got Alec Thomas, Geraldo, Perdomo in the lineup. There's no way those guys are batting above Varsho here. It's just not.
Varshaw's been crushing it all year. Why would they move him out of the 1 hole? He literally homered off this guy last time they faced each other 5 days ago. So no, he's not. Yeah, he's not.
All the sources I trust have the normal lineup out there, so I would not be putting stock into.
Yeah, and real quick, someone commented in the comment section, and they said the media team messed up the order, and another thing has Varshaw in the 1 hole, and I agree with you, DC. I just think it's simple. I think it's Varshaw in the 1 hole. DK, I think, is wrong. They mess up on this all the time. We always talk about this. DK is not really the greatest source for news. If you're using DK as your source for NBA news, you're probably not doing as well in NBA. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's go to second base and another position that's pretty weak. I mean, a lot of these positions are weak because we're not seeing a lot of high totals on the slate. There's some good pitching. There's some games in some pitcher-friendly ballparks. So, when you translate that to DFS, you're going to see a lot of these positions come in pretty weak. So at second base, a guy that I think ends up being pretty popular is Hanser Alberto for the Dodgers. He's batting seventh. You can play him at second or third. He's 2.1K full punt. Actually, not a ton of full punts on the slate. I mean, we've seen a lot of really cheap guys that we can play in our lineups, full punts. On this slate, there's not a ton. So him at 2.1K, I think we end up seeing pretty high ownership on him. I'm fine with him. I mean, he's part of the best lineup on this slate. And, right there, with good hitters ahead of him and below him. So in on him. Colton Wong, I like at 4.3K, a lot of upside there. Trying to see what else I like. I like the Padres a little bit. Cronenworth against Hendricks, 4.7K. I don't know, just not a great position overall. Mangone, I'll go to you. Thoughts here at second.
Yeah, I like Jazz at the top. He's definitely someone, if I have the money to spend up to, like, I'd like to get there. But if I can't, like 4.4K Brandon Lowe, that's a guy that I really like in this spot. We talked, me and DC were on that one show. I believe you might have been on Hoop. Like, we were trying to attack Noah Syndergaard a bit. We like the idea of doing it, and we got some bombs off him. And you know who can definitely hit a bomb off him, even though, hey, it's in Los Angeles. I don't know if the marine layer is lurking at all, but Brandon Lowe can definitely hit him out. So I like him at 4.4K.
That's one of the better price tags we've seen on him too. I mean, he's been a 5K guy for a while. Mid floors, I think, is phenomenal. That's a good point.
Yeah, and I'm not seeing a lot of ownership on him. I think it's because people are going to go to Colton Wong probably at 4.3 instead. Like, there's just a lot of different options you can go to. You can go to Ketel Marte at 4.1K. But I do think that he is like a really, really good option that I want to kind of get exposure to on this slate. So, if you wanted to, the other thing you could do with the Dodgers lineup is Hanser Alberto's down there at 2.1K. Like, a full punt, just get everything you want. And like, how many people are really slamming Hanser Alberto in there? Like, I'm not excited to, but it might be able to help make some things in your lineup work as a cheap option. So that's kind of my overall thoughts on the position. It's not a great one, but there are some pretty good options I think that we can go to.
Yep. Yeah, I'm with you. DC, what do you got at second?
Yeah, of course, if you need the savings, if you're trying to spend it too, if you're trying to spend up at both pitchers and stack the Dodgers, you're probably going to have to get Alberto in there just to make it all work. So I do think he'll have some popularity because of that. But yeah, I mean, to me, clearly the top guy at this position is the most expensive, but Jazz Chisholm just crushing it this year. The pitcher against him, Castellanos, historically has been really, really bad against left-handed bats, and Jazz, almost all his damage this year has come against right-handed pitchers, leading off, or I assume he will be anyway. I just think he's an awesome play. One of the reasons why I'm willing to go to a cheaper pitcher. I think Jazz can put up a mid-20s fantasy score and make up the difference by himself. So 5,400, I think his ownership will be a little bit suppressed just because he's hard to fit with the stud pitchers. People maybe not going to that stack anyway. But yeah, Jazz, I think, especially, you can play him as a one-off, just play him by himself. And if you want, and hope he does the damage, I think he's got a really good chance to do so. Same game, Ketel Marte. I think he's hitting sixth and a little bit of a slow start for him, but still a really good hitter. Really like the matchup for him. I love those Arizona lefties against Eliezer Hernandez. So yeah, same game, Jazz, Ketel Marte, my top two guys. Mangone mentioned Brandon Lowe for the Rays. I think he's a good option against Syndergaard. And then the punt play obviously is Alberto down at 2,100 if you need it. But Jazz in particular is a priority for me.
Like that, and he should be batting leadoff, right?
Yeah, he'll be leading off.
Yeah, like that. All right, we're about 400 watching, 152 likes. Get us to, let's say, 225, so like 75 more. I'll get the plays of the day at the end of the show. So 225 likes. Good job so far, 150. Not much mentioned, and you know what? Now you got a free one because I didn't hit it either. So now you're at like 153. So let's get to 225, get to the plays of the day. At the end, let's go to third base. And we just talked about Alberto. You can play him at third base as well, 2.1K. I think there's some better options at second than there were at third in terms of like value. Moncada's back in the lineup for the White Sox, 3.9K, batting second. Justin Turner, slow start to the season, but 4.2K, batting fourth. Have some interest in him. Josh Rojas for the Diamondbacks, 3.2K, batting fifth, and you can play him at shortstop as well. So I think there's some pretty solid price tag guys here that we can consider. DC, stick with you. Thoughts here at third base?
Yeah, I love the Rojas call again. Those Arizona lefties, one of my favorite stacks. At the top, I think you could still play Jose Ramirez. I know, Kopech's a good pitcher, but Ramirez just been on fire. Manny Machado, I really personally haven't benefited too much from his torrid start to the year. I haven't been on the Padres or Machado that much, but hard to ignore at this point what he's doing. Kyle Hendricks seems like he's kind of, fallen off in a hurry here. So I wouldn't be surprised to see the Padres do some damage. I think Machado is a good way to go. I'd like Anthony Rendon a little bit. A couple lower owned guys. Eugenio Suarez, up to 6 home runs on the year. This is a guy who I think he had like 48 home runs a couple seasons ago for the Reds. His big issue is he strikes out too much, but his opponent, Ranger Suarez, pitching for the Phillies, a good ground ball guy, but doesn't miss any bats. One of the lowest swinging strike rates of any pitcher on the season. Suarez has his power back. Suarez also historically just crushes lefties. So, he's got a very good chance to make contact, and, he can do a lot of damage when he does. So I do like.
Actually, interesting lineup for the Mariners. Do you like the Mariners at all? I mean, they switched it up here facing the lefty.
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, so you got Toro leading off, France second, our boy Julio Rodriguez third, and then Suarez fourth.
Yeah. Sign me up.
Yeah, that sounds like a really nice lineup to stack. And then you get a catcher batting six. You got this Torrens guy you could throw in there. I actually really like this lineup.
Yeah, I'm on board. Normally, I don't like to pick on Ranger Suarez just because I don't like going up against pitchers that have such high ground ball rates. But those pitchers are better to stack against, right? Because you can string the hits together against them. And Suarez has been really, really not good. I had high hopes for him coming into the year, but they're dwindling in a hurry. So I like that call. Love Julio in the middle there, and then Suarez clearly has all the upside in the world especially against a pitcher who can't miss bats for the most part. So I like that. Haven't seen the Miami lineup yet, but
it's not out yet.
Yeah, Joey Wendell, at least projected to hit cleanup. I think he should be in the top. He's swinging a good bat, and I do like those lefties, particularly for Miami against Castellanos. So, yeah, I think there are the mid-range. I think looks pretty good here. I'll throw actually one more guy into the mix. Taylor Walls for Tampa. Again, don't have the lineup yet. Don't know for sure that he'll even be in there, but he has speed.
He's not in.
Okay, never mind on Taylor Walls.
Yeah, so don't play Taylor Walls tonight.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean that's what five, six guys that we like quite a bit. So I actually do like this position quite a bit tonight.
Yeah, Mangone, anything to add here at the third base position?
Yeah, I thought DC brought up good points with Suarez. If you want to go all the way to the top, like Jose Ramirez, Manny Machado, definitely in play. Good options to spend on, regardless of, being good pitchers on the mound there for Chicago. I do think that Ramirez is someone that can hit it out against anyone and just be absolutely unowned. So if you have the money within your stack to do it, I don't hate the idea of that being like a contrarian play. Don't mind Anthony Rendon against a lefty. Don't think he's a bad option. Agree on Kim for San Diego. I think he's another good one you can go to. But Justin Turner at 4.2K against the lefty and Jose Quintana, that's someone that really interests me at 4.2K. Like if I was playing cash games today, like that's someone that I would highly be considering putting in my cash games. I also be considering Joey Wendell, just getting exposure to that Miami lineup if he's in that 4 hole. So I think that is definitely a pretty good call there by DC and someone else that I'm looking to get into my lineups. Yeah, third base is not a bad position today. It's not one that I'm looking to go all the way down and punt. If I do, my definition of punting is Josh Rojas, like you talked about there, but you could plug him in at shortstop if you'd rather. I'm not thinking it's something you need to do, but he's definitely the cheapest I'd go at the third base position.
Man, they're still hammering this Diamondbacks lineup in the chat. It's tilting me. I will bet I'd put any amount of money on the fact that Varsho is not batting ninth. Like
I was gonna offer someone to slide in my DMs on Twitter to bet it, but no one will, so it's no point.
Yeah, I'll take any action on the fact that Varsho is not betting. If you honestly are out there and you think Varsho is betting ninth, hit me up. We can place a wager because there's zero. It's not happening. It's an error on, I'm assuming, DraftKings part. They got this lineup flipped.
It's because they saw it with the media one, and then it's been corrected on other spots. And like underdog and labs.
You got to turn your brains on, people. Varsho's not hitting ninth today.
They said he's batted ninth fairly often this season. I don't think that's the case. Like, has he batted ninth at all this season?
I mean, I'm grounding baseball every day. I can't recall him hitting ninth.
Yeah.
I would just always bet on underdog and labs being correct. And
correct. Yes.
All I'm gonna say. Like I would
Yes.
literally bet on that all the time.
I don't know why it tilts me so hard, but
Yeah,
they're just, it's nonstop in the chat. You guys have the wrong Diamondbacks line. Fuck no, we don't. I will guarantee we don't. We'll put money behind it. Like that, it's not the accurate lineup. Let's go to shortstop. The guy that's going to be pretty popular if you're spending up, obviously Trey Turner, batting third against Quintana, 5.4K. Relatively easy to get him in. A lot of the guys we liked at third, you can play at shortstop as well. Rojas, shortstop eligible. Joey Wendell is in there, batting fourth. He's shortstop eligible as well. Tim Anderson, I think, is in play a little bit. If you're going to stack the Brewers, Willie Adames is a guy you can potentially look at. Mangone, go to you. Thoughts here at shortstop?
Yeah, shortstop. So at the top, I think Trey Turner is probably the best option. Like if salary doesn't matter, but of course it does matter, right? Like we might have to spend down at spots in order to get him in our lineups. I do think that you could make a case for like Willie Adames. We know the power and pop he has, and the Milwaukee Brewers have been crushing it. So I think he's someone else that you can consider. I don't mind Tim Anderson at the top as another guy that could be contrarian. I am kind of going to be cautious with the White Sox, though. I just really do worry about that weather and that wind blowing in. I think it's a good spot for them, but I do worry about what their upside could be. I might maybe just look for more two-man stacks, like in like the 5-2-1s or in the 5-3s with how to handle them on this slate. Let's see. Josh Rojas, I talked about him, 3.2K. If you're going to go cheap, that's one of the guys I'd go to. Joey Wendell, another guy, he's third base and shortstop eligible, so you can grab him over there as well. And if you get him in the 2-hole, and we're still waiting on the lineup, Dubon, he's going against a lefty, and Dubon, I put in my cores on Saturday and he ended up hitting one out. So hopefully he can do that again for us. He was definitely a good option there. It's a good option now here at 2.3K if you want to full punt the position.
If Dubon's batting second, I mean, he's the punt at this position, 2.3K, good lineup spot. He's the guy to look to, shortstop and outfield eligible. Obviously play him at shortstop over outfield. DC, thoughts here at shortstop?
Yeah, not a ton more yet. You guys hit most of them. Wendell, Rojas, near the top of my value list. Of course, Trey Turner for spending up, a good way to go. I'll throw Wander Franco in the mix for Tampa Bay against Syndergaard. I do like the Rays a little bit tonight. I can't emphasize enough how easy it is to steal bases off of Noah Syndergaard. League in stolen bases allowed in 2016, 2018, 2019. Gave up 42 stolen bases to 3 caught stealings, 42 for 45. This year leads the league in the major leagues in stolen bases allowed. Basically, they're 7 for 7 against Syndergaard on his new team with the Angels. The Rays, you can be damn sure know that. And anybody with any speed on the Rays will be running and succeeding, frankly, against Syndergaard, which adds just a lot of upside, especially with home runs kind of hard to come by, especially on a stack, right? I mean, you could get a lot of points in a hurry. You get a double steal, and then you just knock the guys in, and all of a sudden, all your guys got 10 plus fantasy points. So, yeah, Wander Franco, I think will go overlooked, but the Rays have, I think, a lot of upside against Syndergaard tonight.
Yeah, definitely agree with you there. I mean, the steals are huge. If you can get guys to get on, especially with home runs down, like you said, that those add up pretty quickly.
And the thing is, you rarely get just the steal, right? You had to get on first base somehow. You get the steal, then you score a run, and all of a sudden you got almost the equivalent of a home run, just right there. And they're going to run on Syndergaard. There's just no question about it. And you just bake in that upside, and it adds a lot to the projection for me.
Yep. All right, let's move to the outfield, and obviously a lot of plays you can consider here. I think the ones that end up being the most popular, probably the Diamondback guys. Very, very cheap. Barsha, 3.8K, batting last today. I mean, since he's batting last, I don't know if we can play him. Got Pavin Smith, 3.1K. Got a full punt, Alec Thomas, 2K. David Peralta, 3.5K. I think those guys all get ownership. Solid plays on the other side. Jorge Soler should be in a good lineup spot. He's in play. Dodgers guys I like quite a bit. Mookie Betts, Chris Taylor. And then I think the White Sox outfielders are also strong options tonight. DC, let me know some of your favorite outfielders here.
Yeah, I do like the Angels guys up top, all three of them, Ohtani, Trout, and Taylor Ward. I think they've got a chance to get off to a hot start. Of course, we're all kind of in on the Diamondbacks. Alec Thomas, I believe he's hitting eighth tonight, but wherever he is in the lineup, he's another guy that's a top prospect. Had 4 home runs, 3 steals in AAA before getting called up. So he's definitely got upside. Of course, you've got the Dodgers. Frankly, in the outfield, probably trying to include this on my main stack for most teams, at least, 2 or 3 of these guys. Couple guys that I guess maybe go a little bit overlooked. Back to the Rays with the stolen base upside, Randy Arozarena, a guy that's definitely going to be running. If he gets a chance, should be hitting a 3rd or 4th tonight, I believe. And yeah, that's mostly it. Julio Rodriguez, 3,400, just way too cheap hitting 3rd there. So plenty of options, but again, I do think you kind of want to, get these outfielders in with your stack because there's just so many guys all over the pricing spectrum that you can play reasonably.
Mangone, what do you got here in the outfield?
Yeah, going to be tough for me to roster Dalton Varsho and that old 9-hole tonight, but maybe I'll throw him into my lineups. I do think that the outfield, as always, it's a great position, right? You can definitely go to so many different options. At the top, Ohtani, Trout, always good plays. But if you are going to stack up that Phillies game, you don't exclude Schwarber or Harper. You make sure to at least get one of them, or maybe even both. And kind of same with when you're building out, your teams with the Dodgers. I kind of want to get Mookie Betts in there at 5.8K typically. I know people say, oh, he's, better against righties, but I don't know. I still think it's a good option to get him in there. I really like Luis, and I call him Robert. Everyone calls him Robert, other people, but I think it's Robert. So, now the chat can debate about that instead of Dalton Varsho's lineup spot, but Mr. Robert is a good option for me. Batting into the 4-hole. He's 4.7K. That's a pretty cheap price tag against a dude that gets no swing and misses. So like him, like Nick Blastellanos at 4.3K. He's someone else that I'm looking to get in my lineups. And there's a lot of cheap guys today. If you look at this, you got Jorge Soler, Randy Arozarena, Jesus Sanchez, Dalton Varsho, David Peralta. I mean, you are just loaded with a lot of outfielders from this Miami and Arizona game. So you can get exposure to these guys and pay up for a ton of different options at your positions like second base, third base, shortstop, and not punt those positions if you just punt outfield. So there's a lot to like at the top, but man, there's even more to like at the bottom on this slate.
Yeah, certainly. A lot of different ways you can go at the outfield position. And it's typically how it is on most slates with so many guys available. All right, let's talk some stacks. And, Dodgers are the obvious one that most people will be on. Obviously, great to get exposure to them. But we're going to talk about some that might be a little lower owned. I'm going to start with a team that I kind of talked myself into on the show here, and that's the Mariners. I really like the lineup that they threw out. Right-handed heavy at the top, Julio Rodriguez batting 3rd, catcher batting 6th. Catcher's a tough position, so I like the Mariners. And then I got to go back to my Brewers. You guys know I have a soft spot in my heart, so Brewers and Mariners are a couple teams that I'm looking at outside of the obvious Dodgers. Mangone, talk to me about a couple stacks here.
Yeah, I think obviously Miami and Arizona is going to be pretty popular. I think it's not a bad idea to maybe keep them away from each other and not do the game stack, although you can get that low-owned 9-hole Dalton Varsho in your lineups if you'd like to maybe make it different. But I do think that a lot of people are going to just slam in both of those sides. So be a little cautious with that. I think mixing and matching it in a smart way, maybe do Miami with Milwaukee to try and make it a little bit different. I'm playing more FanDuel than DK. So I'm losing the Dodgers. I'm not able to get exposure to them. If you are going to play the Dodgers though, I really like the idea of just loading up on the guys that are super expensive, because that way it's really difficult to kind of build out your lineup. So that's definitely something that I'm thinking about. The guy that kind of can blow up against an offense that I think has a lot of upside, and I'm trying to figure out if this is worth taking the shot on leverage wise, is the San Diego Padres. We haven't talked a lot about them, but Kyle Hendricks is a guy that can have his struggles. He is a ground ball guy. DC talked about it before with Ranger Suarez. Ground ball guys can blow up and kind of get some, hits strung against them. So maybe I'll just take a shot on the Padres. I still don't have a clear idea of what that contrarian offense is going to be for me, because I do feel like between Miami and Arizona, I'm going to want one of those offenses. And then I'm trying to find that one that maybe I get off the board with. I like your Seattle call, Hoop. So that might be the team that I go to, or it might even be like Tampa Bay against Noah Syndergaard, who can give up a lot. But right now, I do really like your Seattle call. I think that was a good one.
Yeah. I don't know why this is tilting me so hard. I usually don't let the chat like affect me at all. And Quentin just pops in. He's like, I don't know why it's crazy to people that Varsho could bat ninth. He's hit ninth multiple times this year. He's not fucking batting ninth tonight. Okay. He's batting leadoff. DraftKings has now adjusted it. You guys have just fully tilted me. If that's your goal, congratulations.
Did DK adjust it? Please tell me.
Yeah. Now he's batting. DK has him batting first.
Okay, hop in for the L's, everyone. Take the L's right now.
Yeah, just take them. I mean, Quentin, all you guys. I mean, you've succeeded in tilting me. The guy's fucking batting first, and I'm officially pissed off. DC, talk to me about some stacks.
Yeah, I'm in on the Mariners. They weren't necessarily super high on my list coming in, but I like the lineup that they rolled out there.
Yeah.
And yeah, the more I kind of dug into Ranger Suarez, not super happy with what I've seen out of him. I'm trying to. This is for you, Hoop. While you were talking, I'm looking up. I see Varsho pretty good with Baseball Reference over here. Believe it or not, I believe he has hit ninth once this year. So
I guarantee it was against a lefty too. I'd put so much. Sure. Yeah, it has to be against a lefty.
But I wanted to see that if I could find that quick for you. So there you go.
Appreciate
it. He does not hit ninth very often. But I am on the Mariners. The D-backs I think are going to do some damage, and then I think the sneakiest one to me is the Rays with the speed against Noah Syndergaard. If I'm going with the Rays, I want the full stack. I want to get 5 guys in there, get guys on the bases. I'm not necessarily projecting like a bunch of power or anything, but give me all the guys that can steal a base against Syndergaard. Could see that working out pretty well.
Yeah, love all that. Unfortunately, man, slow start to the week for the likes. I mean, I said 225. We're at 197. It's been a while since I've withheld them. We're just going to have to go ahead and put those plays into the Discord chat, YouTube chat. Did not
They're too busy talking about Dalton Varsho, Hoop. I mean, it's just
exactly.
Varsho.
Yeah.
That's all they talk about.
Yes. They are trying to tilt us. They succeeded, but failed in getting the likes. So we got to do better the rest of the week to get and the plays of the day have been crushing too, by the way. Like last week, the plays of the day were on fire. So you're going to have to be a member at Run Pure Sports to get the plays of the day, unfortunately for you guys. So that is going to do it for us today. We'll be back tomorrow. For Mangone, for DC, I'm Hoop. Good luck tonight in your contest.